This is a public service announcement brought to you by Kardell Sims and the good folks at TMG Records. Check the forecast. I rain fact, that's truth precipitation. Give them time back or use it to build patience. Either or try to maneuver above basics. So when you touch down, you hover over complacent. Long story short, we made the time count. Incarceration couldn't keep our minds timed out. We just gave clout to the count times and grinded. Made our re-entry a journey out of confinement. This.
What's going on? What's going on? This is another episode of the Reentry Journey. Had a little technical difficulties, as you see. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, that's. But I'm back, and tonight, my guest, man, this brother. I've been watching him. I got introduced to this brother from a brother that I was in the group with. He was telling me, like, yeah, you got to know my guy Travis, man. Y'all got similar stories, and he's from Missouri. And I'm like, man, I'm surprised I haven't heard of him. Then I started researching him, and man, I just started seeing the work. And it really wasn't about, my thing was, how did you get to where you got coming out of prison? Because I was sitting back seeing the moves that you was making, and I know I'm not part of them circles, but I'm kind of on the outside looking in. I'm like, the brother out here making some moves, and I started watching the videos and listening to the inspiration, the game that you be giving, like on just about life in general, man. I was like, I really want to get him on. So when I was like, I'm just reaching out. I had a model thing I was doing for 2021 was yes or no. I'm asking people, and either you're gonna tell me yes or you're gonna tell me no. And that was my whole thing for 2021. And so I reached out and you said, man, let's do it, man. I was like, bet. So I like to bring our guests, man. Let me be quiet. I like to bring our guests on, bring them to the floor. Mr. Travis Believes, man. Welcome to the Reentry Journey, man. We're happy to have you, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to really just speak about my journey. I don't really get a lot of opportunities to do that. And the reason why is because normally I'm usually, talking about, different types of inspirational stories, but I don't talk to different people that went through what I went through. They, the problems that they had was they lost their job or their parents got a divorce. Like that, that's
right.
That's their big, like, and I don't want to diminish their thing, but I'm saying it's just different. I don't get a chance to talk to people that went through what we went through.
Right, man. It's good to have you on because I'm glad you said that because I was doing some research throughout the last few days trying to, learn something more about your story. And I'm like, man, I know he's from where he's from, and I know I just can't find the complete story. So I'm like, I'm just going to give you the opportunity to share that so the people that's in our group, the reentry support group, the people that follow me, a lot of people that's getting out of prison and they run into these obstacles. They sometimes just seeing somebody get to a certain point to where they can say, man, that person did it. And I was like, I'm going to give him the opportunity to really share the story and the stuff that you've been through that a lot of people that see your videos that might try to find the interviews they don't really hear. I want you to give us the raw, man. What was it like? Tell them where you're from and what your background is.
Yeah, man. So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I grew up, North Side, really all over. But North Side is where I spent most of my growing up, and I was born in the '80s. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that know, man, the '90s was that was something different. That was something different. So anyway, especially in St. Louis, man, like St. Louis is, a lot of people don't know this, but St. Louis is consistently ranked top 5 most dangerous cities every single year. Top 5 murder rate every single year. And it's just not a pretty place when you in the inner city. So I grew up in St. Louis. My mother was a drug addict, and I never met my dad. To this day, I still haven't met my dad. So I ended up getting in group homes. You know, I have 6 brothers and sisters, and you know, we was all in group homes and stuff like that. State custody,
Right.
state facilities. So grew up in those facilities and things like that. And you know, when you grow up in those facilities, man, you're always around, you know, other troubled youth. You know, these aren't really situations that are really optimal for us because we're around a bunch of troubled youth, and we're all trying to. Everybody's really trying to be accepted, honestly, and fit in, and it all comes down to wanting to be respected and loved, right? What it all comes down to. That's what everybody really wants.
Right.
But we just go about it different ways. When you don't know what it means to be accepted, when you don't really know what it means to be loved and respected, you go about all the different wrong ways, the quick ways to try to get there, which is usually to, you know, bad means. So in this particular case, living in group homes, you know, the quickest way to get respect was, you know, fighting, right? Or trying to get girls, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, end up making friends in these group homes, things like that, and you know, continuing friends with my neighborhood, my old neighborhood and stuff like that. And you know, even though I was in group homes and I went to a school out in the suburbs from my high school. Yeah. I still hung out with my inner city friends, and yeah, man, they was doing a lot of bad things like robberies and selling drugs, and I mean, but you know, that ain't the whole thing. You know, I think what a lot of people misunderstand is, you know, when you're talking to the everyday person, you know, people that sell drugs or people that rob, we everyday people. I mean, we have families, you know, we, you know, like to do everyday things. You know what I'm saying? It's just whenever we feel like we got to get it,
we gonna go get it.
Yeah, we gonna get it in a different type of way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, so I could ramble on and on, but I didn't know if you had any questions. But yeah, that's my growing up in St. Louis.
Okay. And when you was growing up, I'm thinking about it, in the north side St. Louis, 80s, 90s, around that time, that area was more controlled in a sense, maybe a little bit before you, by the Moors.
The Moors?
Yeah, the Moors.
You talking like Jerry
the
Lewis
Moors
Bay?
American, Jerry Lewis Bay, Emerson Bay, and yeah.
Yeah, that was a little before my time, but yeah, now my mom knew him. So Pruitt-Igoe, which is one of the most notorious housing projects in America, you know, they got all type of documentaries on it. You know, my mom used to live in Pruitt-Igoe, and yeah, she knew Jerry Lewis Bay. You know what I'm saying? But he was a little bit before my time. Growing up, when I was growing up, Bloods and Crips was the thing.
They was coming in.
Right. Yeah, Bloods and Crips was the thing, and it was you know, obviously you had your, you know, your 5%ers and your more signed Temple of America, you know, people, but it was mainly Bloods and Crips, and you know, you had GDs and Vice Lords too, but yeah.
Okay, because I was just thinking, I was wondering if that Morris influence, because I know with Jerry Lewis Bay and Emerson Bay and just the old temple in that area, they had some influence. And even with me being in the state joint, you would see people from the North St. Louis come in that was part of that temple, and they had a heavy influence as far as in the prisons, because they had split it up into two temples.
Yeah,
and so I was wondering if you had any influence, that had any influence on you while you was growing up.
So that was a little bit before me. So that particularly didn't. You know, I was my neighborhood actually was written about in like the Source magazine and stuff like that. The Source magazine and different magazines back in the 90s used to write articles about, the neighborhoods that I grew up in.
Right. Right.
And yeah, man, it was very violent, man. I mean, it was so crazy that, you couldn't even, like, as a kid, I still remember, like, not even being able to walk home from school without getting into it. You knew you were going to get into a fight because you knew you had to walk across, and these people over here, you didn't get along with those people. And the reason why you didn't get along with them was simply because of where you lived at. That's it.
Right. That's
Well,
crazy.
I don't even know these people. They don't even know me. And we
Wow.
just get into it. Like, and that's how crazy. That's just the way it was, man. But if you think about it, we all learn this type of mentality from, America. America teaches us this, you know what I'm saying? Because they get into it with Cuba. They can't get along with Cuba or Russia and stuff like that over nothing when it comes down
nothing.
to it. What's the actual reason? No reason, really. And so we learn this type of behavior, or even cops. Like cops, they treat us a certain type of way because we live in a certain neighborhood. And so they're training us without even realizing it to not value each other. You know what I'm saying? To hate each other. They hate us. So now we take that same hate and then give it to the people that are biased, that are in close proximity to us, right? And so that's what happens. And so I never joined a gang myself, but I was always affiliated in the sense that these were my friends. So yeah, man. So whenever they did, like, criminal activities, I was rolling with them because they was my friends, and eventually it got to a point where I was, committing robberies on a regular, and like when I actually sat back and thought about it, and it surprised me. I actually had to think about, like, yo, how many did I actually
Right. Like what, man?
and I was like, yo, I was actually a little shocked, by myself just thinking about it because I couldn't remember. So anyway, but I eventually got caught. This is not something that that lasts forever. So I eventually got caught, and I'll never forget, man, because that's when it got real. I went my whole entire life without really getting in any major trouble like that, right? No felonies. And then when I finally, and the main reason why I was able to kind of walk that fine line is because, I graduated high school. You know what I'm saying? I always had a job. I was always able to take care of myself. And so, my friends was always in a different position. Like I was kind of like the responsible one out of, everybody. So I always had a position to where, if we got caught for doing something, I'd be like, nah, I got a job. I don't.
Right.
And they would run my name, and I ain't got no jacket. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like was the cover.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the times where I did, do something and got caught, and I didn't actually get caught, but I got caught in the sense that I can kind of go through it. But it was a robbery. That's what I went to prison for. I went to, prison for robberies. I don't know if you can tell from the context. I was just,
yeah, I know. I feel you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Because that was my thing, man. My thing was robberies. And I look back on that, and I thank God that I didn't die because I was really reckless. Like, I was committing robberies sometimes with guns that had no bullets in it.
Oh yeah, you was really out there playing for real.
There's sometimes I even committed robberies without a gun.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like when you dealing with drug dealers, you know what I'm saying, and sometimes you just put hands on them. You know what I'm saying? But that's when you was young, like 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude got like a QP or a pound or a couple of pounds, and 16, 17 years old, you know, you just, man, he got what? You know, let me rough him up real quick and take this stuff. You know. But anyway, so I eventually I didn't get caught until I was 21 years old. I got caught when I was 21. The funny thing is I got caught a few times before, but it never like I had a case, for example, a gun case, but they dropped it. Like the DEA was involved with that because it was some guns that was stolen from a cop, but I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know it was, you know, that was a fair case. They ended up dropping that though. They never like pursued charges of that. Partly because I didn't have a background. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have any, you know what I'm saying? And then it was other cases like, you know, stolen cars and, you know, and I had God on me because
he just like, kept pushing him away.
Like I would get caught and then, like for example, one time I had a stolen car, but they had described somebody completely different. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like every single time I just kept getting out of but my luck ended up running out though. And
he kept getting you out, and he was just like, you know what, you keep, you got to learn from one of these.
Yeah, listen, it was. I would tell you one of the scariest times I had, and I'm gonna go on into what happened that night when I got caught though. One of the scariest times I had is, you know, so what we used to do is in St. Louis. Well, I'm not gonna say in St. Louis. I wasn't a gang member, so I didn't have to carry a gun on my lap all the time. So what I used to do is I used to keep the gun up under the battery, you know what I'm saying, in my car. You know what I'm saying? Because the cop, you know, St. Louis cops is pulling you over all the time.
Yeah, so for me, over left, right.
I kept it up under the battery, and I didn't never get caught, you know. But this one time, I was going over to East St. Louis. You know, East St. Louis is. It's not really St. Louis,
but I know.
So it's like we don't like mess with them, but we do because we go clubbing over there. So anyway, they was doing a sobriety check, and I had, you know, the gun, you know, I had it on me, and I'm like, yo, so I tried to like reverse to go back, and I couldn't. There was too many cars coming, and so. This was like another situation where God was just on me.
Man.
So they ran my name and saw that I didn't have no warrants, you know, nothing like that. So they let me go. They didn't even check my car. They was checking everybody's car, but for some reason they didn't check mine. And I was like, yo, this can't be nothing but God.
It can't be nothing. Man, can't be nothing but God.
I was like, this can't be nothing but God. You know, them Illinois state troopers, man, you know, they got them hillbilly hats on and that.
Oh, yeah,
they look like, you know, to us, they look like KKK members, man. You know?
Straight up. You don't even, yeah.
Man, so anyway, man, so anyway, my luck ended up running out, man, and you know, the last little robbery I had. So you know what happens is, so you know, you ever been like pulled over by a cop and then like they like take your name down and stuff like that, but you know, they just take it. And what they do is they take your name down and then they kind of like match the description on, you know, because they'll go back and see what all the different like crimes that happened that day, and then they'll try to match the description up for people. This is how they do lineups and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
So I had a wanted out for my arrest. You know what I'm saying? After, you know, because I got pulled over that night, the same night that you know, I did that robbery. And you know, I matched, you know, the description that, you know, that was given or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And so what ended up happening is I got, you know, picked up out of a lineup, and you know, the rest was history. That was my, you know, I got caught, and you know, but this is the thing though, during my time. So I spent 2 years down at the Justice Center. I did 3 years total, but I spent 2 years just, you know, waiting for my case to do. And I did what you call a blind plea. You know what a blind plea is, right?
You put on in there and basically said, you know, Give me what you want. Hoping it's gonna be the best.
So check this out, right? So you know they do the pre-sentence investigation and all that stuff, right? So they, if well, at first, the prosecutors was offering me 15 years.
Yeah.
But after the pre-sentence investigation, they give it, they usually come down. You know what I'm saying?
Down, yeah.
Well, they might go up depending upon what your
background is. What the background is.
Yeah. But mine, they went down all the way down to 10 years. So I had a first-degree robbery, armed criminal action, first-degree assault. They actually dropped the assault and just kept it first-degree robbery and armed criminal action. And so armed criminal action, if you know, that's automatic. Whatever time you get on armed criminal action, you have to do flat. You got to do the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And the options between that is from 3 years to life. So if they give it's an unclassified charge. You got class A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Then you got unclassified charges. Armed criminal action is one of those unclassified charges. You got carjacking, armed criminal action, and there's a few others that's considered unclassified, meaning whatever the judge gives you, you got to do that time, 100%.
Exactly.
So, what happened was, so they came all the way down to 10 years, and they gave me 10 years on a first degree robbery. First degree robbery is 10 years to 30 years to life, right? And armed criminal action was 3 years to life. So they came all the way down to 10 years, 3 years running concurrent with the 10 years. So I would have, but I still would have had to do 85% of the time because it's it's a violent crime.
It's a violent crime.
Okay. I didn't take that. And I wasn't gonna go to trial either because I'm like, I can't go to trial. Like, they put. I mean, and they get that witness on it, and it's a wrap. They go to, I said I can't do that. But then I'm also like, this is like my first time for real locked up. I'm like, I can't just. I'm not gonna take 10 years. 10
years.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not going. We got
all the jailhouse lawyers in there telling me, man, you better take that 10 years, man. That's a blessing. They telling me,
right? Yeah, to them it was a blessing.
My cellie, who had the same he had a first degree robbery, armed criminal action. They just gave him 15 years, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
So hold on. So. And because this is kind of changed it really, it's like now this is some real pressure because you this is your first time, but you like, man, my cellie, he done got 15 and they giving me 10 and you got everybody, man, you been going to take that 10, boy, quit playing with them people. What was in you? What is it that was in you that said, man, I just can't just settle for this like this? What was that in you to be that way?
I'm a relentless optimist. And that's one of my gifts, being a relentless optimist. I always see the glasses half full. I actually I'm a rephrase that. I don't even see the glasses half full. I see the glasses being full. I just have to make it full. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And so when people are telling me this, I'm like, I'm knowing this isn't my life. My life isn't meant to be this. When I'm in jail, and where I was locked up at, it was nothing but violent crime. You had to have one of the, in Missouri, it's like I think it's 7. It's like murder, rape, first degree assault, first degree arson, kidnapping, first degree rape, and something else. It's like 7 crimes that carry like the same, like 10 years to 30 years to life. I can't remember them all, but something like that. Yeah. Right? And so these were, you had to have those type of offenses in order to be locked up where I was locked up at the time, and in St. Louis. This is before you go to prison, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody in there is getting like double-digit numbers. You know what I'm saying? 20 years, 25 years. I'm seeing people get 500 years. I'm seeing people.
I used to read the World, and man, they used to be handing out numbers like, I'm talking about 255 years. Yeah. 18-year-old gets sentenced to 190 years. It would just be crazy numbers coming out.
It's funny that you say that because the 18-year-old got sentenced to something like he had 40 something robberies. Yeah, and he was 18 years old, man. And they gave this dude 100-some years, man. I said, yo, man, this is. But see, this is what woke me up though, because I'm seeing 40, 50-year-old men still gangbanging. I'm like, y'all still gangbanging, and these men is they handing out like, what's wrong with y'all? And this is what woke me up, because I'm like, y'all are crazy. They handing out numbers like that, and y'all still gangbanging. Y'all still worried about I gotta get in this so I can beat this dude up. Man, I don't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the things that saved me. Like, you was telling me about your boy that caught that murder in jail. That's one of the things that saved me. I stayed low key. You know what I'm saying? The whole time. And the funny thing is, because like my little brother's actually locked up right now. My little brother and them, they was part of a particular gang that was different from my hood. Remember, I told you we was all in group homes and stuff like that. So it's like people was trying to get me to chew, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm staying out of that. I don't gangbang. That's never been my thing. And so for me, I never, being in jail and seeing people still gangbang and want to do all this crazy stuff, even when these people are trying to throw the book at you, that made me realize that, yo, this is crazy. Something's got to be done about this. And so that really woke me up that, you see how like everybody in jail like has a mask on. They're trying to prove how tough they are. They're trying to prove something to other people. They're trying to like, I don't care. Why do I care about the opinions of these people? Why? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? We live for the opinions of other people. And then the most important thing I learned is people in jail, you know what I'm saying, are in physical jail, but people outside of jail live with a mask on too. And so they're in mental jail, you know what I'm saying? And I realized that. And so I just came to the realization that this wasn't going to be my life. So to circle back is I was in constant prayer. You know what I'm saying? I was in constant prayer. And God literally told me, and people say this is crazy, but I'm a manifest. I'm telling you, I walked in prison with first-degree robbery, armed criminal action, first-degree assault, and walked out of there with probation on a first-degree robbery.
Yeah.
Don't nobody get that.
Yeah, man.
So I had to do the mandatory time for the armed criminal action, but they gave me the minimum, which was 3 years. I had already did 2, so only had 1 year left, and I got 5 years probation, SIS. SIS for the first degree robbery, which is crazy. That's crazy. That never happens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you can't tell me that God just wasn't moving in my life, because listen, nobody got that. You know what I'm saying? When I was in jail, everybody kept telling me to take the test. And then when I came back, and and I'm not trying to turn this into because I'm not a part of any particular religion, but I do. If I was closest to anything, I'm closer to Rastafarian than anything in terms of my beliefs. But I used to. Them 5% of jail, man, and the they're heavy though. But they used to tell me, "Oh man, you follow that white man's book," and I'm like, "Nah, man," because I used to read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? That was my but I had read the Circle 7 and all that stuff too, though, and the Quran and all that. But I found, like I said, I'm closer to Rastafarian than anything.
Right.
So anyway, I just think that my sincerity, that God knew my heart. He really understood my heart, and he knew what my mission out here was, and he wanted me to to complete that. So yeah, man, I held my head up high. You know what I'm saying? The prosecutor tried to get me to tell on because there was somebody that that was with me, but the prosecutor tried to get me, and I'm like, nah, listen, I did it on my own. It was all on me. You know what I'm saying? They try to get you to snitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I did it on me. I did a blind plea. You know what I'm saying?
You was cold on that one. I don't know how you did that one.
I,
I
you know,
walked in the
I
bank, you
told
walked
you,
in, man, just give
God
me
was
what you gonna give me,
God
man.
was moving. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm
Mm,
not taking the 10 years. I'm not going to trial. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm
true
like, listen,
definition of leaving it in God's hands.
exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That judge could have gave me 15 years. Could have gave me he could have gave me whatever he wanted to. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so my brother was there, I had people there, they was crying and stuff like that. And they said, the judge said, he looked at me and he said, I'm gonna give you 3 years on an armed criminal action. Then he looked down and he looked up and said, I'm gonna give you 5 years probation on the first degree robbery. I said, wow.
What?
And I started crying, man. That was like, I was like,
Mm,
yo, that's like crazy.
crazy.
That's crazy. And
Man.
by the way, I had a cellmate. So people come back on writs, right? You
Yeah.
know, you know.
They
I
come back here.
so okay. Let me kind of, remember I told you I had a cellie that got 15 years that had the same type of. He had already went to prison,
Okay.
so I had somebody that came back on writ right before I got sentenced, and he was an OG. He also said, yeah, this is what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? He told me, like he said, God told him. And I said, dang, God told me the same thing. So it was like confirmation. You know what I'm
Confirmation.
saying? And so anyway, yeah, I went there. The judge gave me 3 years on armed criminal action, 5 years SIS probation on the first degree robbery, man. And
So,
that was
so for the people that's tuning in and will tune in, they gonna say, why you keep saying SIS? Explain the difference between the SIS and the SES.
yeah. So SIS means suspended imposition of sentence, meaning that so you have two types: suspended imposition of sentence and then suspended execution of sentence. When you have an SES, they actually give you time. Like they might say, hey, we're going to give you 10 years, and if you violate, you got to go do that 10 years. If you have SIS, that means if you complete the probation, it's not even on your record anymore.
Exactly.
That means there's no imposed sentence. Yeah,
Right.
So it's SIS is better than SES. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't even go on your record if you complete it. Suspended execution of your sentence stays on your record because it's like SES is kind of like they did sentence you, but they're suspending the execution of that sentence
Yeah.
for the probationary period.
Yeah.
Unless you violate.
Unless you violate.
Yeah. And so yeah, man, and so I got that, and it was a blessing, man. I got out, and it was I just had God's favor, man. As soon as I got out, I joined this program, and this is something I tell people, man. I joined a program called Mission Gate. Mission Gate is a reentry program that houses felons. And I joined that program because, listen, if this, let me, and this, I am beseeching people right now. If you're able to do prison, right? It's one of the things I hated. I hated when I ran into some of my old friends, and they would say, when I get out, I'm gonna go back doing the same thing and blah blah blah. And, or I know people that would get out and go to the halfway house and violate their parole or whatever and I'm like, so you mean to tell me you was in jail this whole entire time following all these rules, and when you got out you're gonna violate to go back? Like, what's like, yo,
Right.
like, it was this type of stuff that I'm like, yo, this is great. This is like the Twilight Zone to me. I'm not going.
I mean, but it happens all the time
all
with
the time.
numerous people.
I'm gonna tell you another thing too. That what this is what this is another thing too. This is what did it for me. When you go to jail, all the OGs tell you, man, don't think about the streets. They say, don't think about the outside world. You got to jail. If you think about the outside world, it's gonna make your time hard.
Right.
I didn't go by that because I said, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the reason why I don't want to go by that, because I want to hate every minute of this place. I want my time to be hard. And so I thought about the outside. I thought about the street. I thought about everything I want to do. I dreamed about it. I thought about it. Like, I affirmed it in my head what I was going to be doing outside. And I hated every single minute. And so that made sure I wasn't going to do nothing to mess that up. See what I'm saying? So I did the exact opposite of what all the OGs was telling me to do in there, because I wanted to make sure I hated every minute of being in jail. And I wanted to make sure that I affirmed in my own brain what I was going to do to create this reticular activated system, what I now know, to say, you know what? Nah, these are the power moves I want to make when I get out.
Wow. So, before you go on, when you said that you was thinking about the outside, was majority of your thoughts when you think about the outside is what you was going to do and how you was going to prosper once you got released?
Yeah, it was it was a lot. I kept my brain focused on, so I did a lot of working out. I was a beast on that. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of spiritual improvement. So I read every book I can get my hands on spiritually, and evolved myself when it came to that. And then thirdly, I thought about how I wanted to create my family, how I wanted to impact my family, what businesses I wanted to be involved in, what my purpose was, how I was going to use that to help other people, impact other people, and the different people's lives I want to impact when I get out, the different people I want to reach out to. Just all those type of things, man. It's just, I thought about that stuff every single day, man, every single day.
Man, because it's good that you got it, on the first time, because to get to that point that you was at with the working out and the spiritual, getting to understand you and understanding business and studying and reading book after book, it took me to my fourth prison bid to figure to figure it out, because that's why I was thinking about when you was thinking about, I was thinking about outside, but I wasn't thinking about how I was going to roll and how things I was going to do
You
to
was
prosper
gelling,
my
man.
life. I was just gelling like, man, yeah, when I get out here, I was going to get right back to it. And then, yeah, I was going in and out. And then I end up going to the feds. And when I got this, when they handed me that indictment, they had my name versus United States. I was like, man, something got to change. And that's when I made that change, started reading different books and, just started engaging in myself. And instead of having the pictures on the wall, I started building I used to go to the library and, you ain't supposed to tear the magazines up. So I used to tear the magazines out and start building me a picture board, a vision board of what I wanted my life to be like when I got out. And every day I woke up, I just looked at that and I got into affirmations when I started doing the Fed and stuff like that. But reason why I'm saying that, because you said earlier you was looking at guys that was 30, 40 years old, and you was like, man, you trying to go back in there? Or you really gang banging and stuff like this is what you like to do? And that was one of my fears. I didn't want to be 40, 50, 60, 70 years. That was one of the biggest fears I had. Like, I don't want to be that old, still going in penitentiary, because I'm already did most of my 20s. Now I'm turning around and this called a Fed case in my 30s. And I'm like, and it's one of them 10 to life joints. And I'm like, man, I'm finna be in prison, my 40s, 50s. And I was like, man, once I'm done with this is it. Because I don't know when I'm getting out. But when I do, I don't want to turn around and be 40s, 50s, 60 years old in prison. And I had to figure out what it was going to take for me not to do that. And that's when I started doing it was really reading, a lot of reading, educating myself. Because through that education, it allowed me to start seeing different. I was able to paint different pictures than what I was normally used to painting. And the picture I was used to painting getting out of prison, I'm going back to the block. I'm finna get right back in it. Hey, my brother and them out there, they on point. I know he gonna have me a car waiting. My other homie, he gonna have me something, and that was the only pictures I ever had. But when they had me that paper and it said Kardell Seals versus United States of America, and then it had all these conspiracy, gang activities, and all these charges, I'm like, man, whenever I get out, I got to make sure I will never come back. So what is it going to take? And I just started reading books, educating myself.
Yeah. I see, that was one of the blessings. All the possible Fed cases that I had, like with the gun charge I was telling you about. When I say gun charge, I mean we had a lot of guns, man.
Right.
And the DEA came, and I knew it was the DEA because it was a special task force. There wasn't regular cops, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like 19 at the time. And then when I found out that it was this special task force that was assigned specifically, so I don't know if you remember. So you remember they actually had like assault rifles banned at one point. You know,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was during that time, man. They had assault rifles banned. Well, let me see. No, I think let me see. So Bill Clinton did the assault rifles ban, and I think it was for like 10 years, right?
Yeah, it was about 10 years.
Yeah, he did a 10-year assault rifle ban. So at the time, they were still banned. And we had all kind of stuff, man. But stuff was stolen from a cop, and so.
Oh yeah.
I guess when that type of stuff happens, the feds get involved. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, I was fortunate enough to not be able to see that paper that you saw. My name.
Yeah, there wasn't no joke, boy. Hey, that had me. I was like, oh, nah. I was like, man, yeah, this is crazy. You don't went. You don't went too far now. You know. So when you get out and you know.
But before you go there, man, the funny thing about that is, in that case, man, listen, there's two things I do want to say, because I do want to bridge off into how I became a successful entrepreneur. I do want to get off into that. Let me say this, man, and I'm about to say something very controversial. So I say this because having this conversation just reminded me of the situation. So what actually happened with that gun case was I was involved in it, but I wasn't the main culprit. Okay. And so the main culprit, who's actually dead now, rest in peace, this dude snitched on me.
Oh no. No.
He said the guns was mine.
Oh no, man. That's the bad part. When you stand aside for somebody and that person. Yeah.
I still didn't snitch on him.
Right.
I told the police because I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is, bro, I was 19 years old, man. This is almost 20 years ago. So
right.
Hopefully the statute of limitations is gone, but
yeah, man, don't say nothing, hey.
Right. You're right. But let me just say this though. Even when I was facing that situation, I didn't snitch on him. However, though, even though I didn't snitch on him, I want people to understand something. When you're out there committing crimes, and you might disagree with me on this, but this is something I'm standing 10 toes down on. When you're out there committing crimes, if you go to jail and you whether you snitch or you don't snitch, it's all dishonorable. We are all operating in dishonor. Mm-hmm. What I don't like what's going on now is, we call the dudes that out there robbing, gang banging, selling drugs, and all this, that, and the other, shooting people, and that's OG, and he don't snitch. They're like, oh man, yeah, we're gonna give him the utmost respect. Another dude that did the same thing as snitch. Oh man, he a clown. We talking about him. He gonna get beat up. And my thing is, all of it is dishonorable. Nobody should get honored. We shouldn't honor nobody. And the thing is, I don't like the fact that the way we discredit snitches, but elevate people that still commit a bunch of crimes. That's the part that I don't like. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was looking at, for example, like the 6ix9ine situation, right?
Right.
I don't rock with 6ix9ine. Obviously what he did was cowardly. If you're a man, take your own weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you did the crime, you got to do the time.
The time, right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, y'all sitting there talking about free this person. No, them niggas deserve to.
He got 20 bodies. You talking about freeing?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm
that ain't
like,
how, yeah, that ain't how that
bro,
works. Yeah, I'm
hit that
rocking with
dude
you
in
on that one.
jail.
Yeah, nah, that ain't how that works. That ain't how that works.
I don't respect none of them guys. I don't
Mm,
respect the snitch. I don't respect the shooter. I don't respect none
mm.
of them guys.
Because it's all detrimental to us as a whole and our growth. It really has set us back a
Exactly.
long way. You talking about you talking about 90s all the way up to now. This has really been really pushed out there, and not people say, "Well, the media," but no, we really push these agendas out there from
Yeah.
off the corners, from in the hood. We push these agendas out there.
Yeah.
The yeah,
When we elevate these street dudes, right? Oh man, yeah, we gonna when he get out, we're gonna give, we're gonna you elevating these street dudes, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what do you think these kids are seeing? These kids are seeing this is how they get respect. These kids are seeing, because this is what I did.
yeah, exactly.
I looked up at these guys. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Straight up.
So, and this is one of the reasons why I ended up going down the path I did. But if people wasn't honoring them and people wasn't giving them credit, then I would have never thought that that was a form of respect that I wanted.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just really wanted to get that off because my homie, and this was my ace, this was my guy. He snitched on me, and I still didn't snitch on him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, no, I don't know what he's talking about. You know, nah,
And,
I didn't get the stuff. This is how it happened. I don't know what he's talking about.
and
I
then
stayed 10 toes down, even though I got snitched on.
right. And so your overall message, what we were just talking about is, even though this you didn't snitch on, the reality is we should have never been in this type of position anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Straight up.
I don't want people to get don't like I don't deserve no credit, you know what I'm saying, for being a man. I'm being a man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Don't give me no yeah, man, I wasn't honorable. I was doing messed up stuff back then, dog.
Right. I
Don't give
shouldn't
me
even
no
been in
honor.
that. Yeah.
I
Don't give
don't
me
need
no
no honor.
yeah.
Give me honor for what I'm doing now, not anything I was doing back then.
Exactly. True indeed. True indeed.
Yeah. So so yeah. Anyway, I get out and I get part of this Michigate program, and they had all these rules, and I was like, yo, these I just did 3 years in prison. The rules that they got ain't got nothing to, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Right.
out. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like I can follow the
Yeah, I can follow
I
these
can
rules
follow
or
these
not.
rules.
Right.
So I did that. Got a job in 2 weeks, and it was I never looked back since then, after that. You know what I'm saying? I got a job in 2 weeks, and then I was able to go from there, man, and build myself up, man. I knew what I wanted to do. The number one thing I always tell people to do is when you're in a position and you just get out of jail, and let's say you don't know what you want to do, the first thing you need to do is just reset and get your mind right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I need on a basic level? What you need on the basic level is shelter. You know what I'm saying? And food, and an income. You know what I'm saying? So find a legit way to where you can take care of yourself when it comes to shelter. And I did it by going to a program and get you a job. And the job could be whatever, because it don't matter if you're working at a fast food or none of that, because you're having a legit income and you're able to take care of yourself.
Right.
And when you're able to take care of yourself, you have a certain level of respect for yourself. You have a certain level of dignity that you can sit down and think now. You could think and be like, okay, now what do I really want? Now that I got the basic necessities taken care of, what do I really want now? You know what I'm saying? Then you start thinking about your passions, the things you care about. Should I go to school and pursue something that I want to do? Or should I learn more about an expertise? Me, I wanted to do something in music. So but I knew I wanted to do something positive. And
Okay.
ended up finding somebody in where I was from that was a positive rapper. My guy Prince E. Prince E's, a lot of people that's listening to this might know who he is. He's famous now, got millions of followers, millions of dollars, all that stuff. But back then he was just a local rapper, just positive. And I knew, the thing is, if you have a talent, right, for something, or if you're an avid, whatever you are, if you're talented at something, or you're good at something, just start helping people. Help people for free. And when you start helping people for free, you're going to gain a reputation. And when you get a reputation, people are going to want to pay you for it. And that's just what happened with me. Me and Prince C, we worked together for a long time. I wasn't getting paid a dime. I didn't get paid a dime when I was working with him. And we were just two passionate people. And by the way, we was broke. You know what I'm saying? When I say broke, I mean like we was taking care of ourselves, but we didn't have nowhere near what we have now. I live in Dallas, Texas now in a freaking house. I'm married and all that now. But at the time, I was just working a regular 9-to-5 job, which is cool. But then I started using my talents to help him out, and we just did whatever we could to try to spread the message, and we did it. You know what I'm saying? We spread the message, and I was able to form a business out of what I was able to do with him. Now I work with nothing but entrepreneurs and helping them discover their talent, spread their talent, and reach the masses, and being able to build a business themselves, through social media or gaining attention. I help people through a process of self-discovery, right? Bring out their talent. My talent is being able to see the talent in other people. I'm able to see the talent in other people and help them get that to the world. That's what I do. And so I was able to form a business around that, and become successful at it. But it all started because I was passionate about something. I knew I was good at something, and I just started helping for free out of integrity. Start realizing that when you move with integrity, here's the thing: when you move with character, you can build foundations off character, off integrity, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to be trustworthy, right?
Right.
You got to be reliable, right? Those are things that you can control. You can't control everything else. You can control yourself being reliable. You can control yourself being honest. You can control yourself being, your work ethic. These are controllable things.
Right.
And so when you're able to do those things, you're able to help people, then people notice that. Then you start finding out people even want to help you. It's a constant effect. So anyway, that's what happened with me. Yeah.
Service is king. That's what I when I work one-on-one with people that's coming out of prison and they might get in touch with me and want me to be the mentor. One of the first things I ask them is, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you going to do to serve? That was one thing I did when I got out. I went to a halfway house in Springfield. Worked at the telemarketing job, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't have had to catch a bus. Had to catch the bus 5 o'clock. But I had these goals and plans that I had carried with me, and one of the things was serve, help people, serve people, for free. So when I did get out the halfway house, I started two businesses, Kardell Sims, Visionary, formerly known as Visionary Hustler, Kardell Sims Enterprise LLC, but I started a nonprofit organization that is geared to rebuilding the community I grew up in that I helped destroy, selling drugs and stuff like that. And that was, to me, that was my biggest thing, was always giving back to that community, always serving. And then when I did move, the place that I moved to, that's what I did. I just started serving people, just like you said, just started serving different things, just doing it out the kindness of my heart and just getting out there doing it. I started seeing stuff come back tenfold.
You know why? Because you realize one thing: abundance doesn't flow to you; abundance flows through you. You know what I'm saying? Like you start realizing that when you start giving, right, and it just comes back to you. You know what I'm saying? And then you give, and then it comes back to you. So it's like abundance isn't for you; it's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you start realizing that the gift that you have is meant to be given.
So, excuse me. Down to the last question. I ask this question to everybody that comes on the show. It's really what the show is about. If you had one word to describe your journey, just one word, what would that one word be and why you chose that one word?
I'd have to say optimistic.
Mm,
And the reason I have to say that is because I believe that is the one factor in all of this that has allowed me to transition into having a negative situation into a positive one. Because I don't think you can be successful by having a negative mind frame. I think you have to have a positive mind frame in order to achieve and succeed.
mm. Yeah, I most definitely agree with that. Travis, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, sharing the knowledge in the game that you have been sharing tonight. For those who want to get in contact with you, want to know what's going on with you, how can they give out your handles, your website,
Yeah,
social
just yeah,
media?
just follow me on IG, Travis Believes, anywhere on social media, period. Or you can go to my website, innerlightsocial.com. But yeah, just follow me anywhere, Travis Believes, and shoot me a DM.
No, true indeed. So thanks for coming on. It was an honor to have you as a guest. I hope everyone that's tuning in, that has tuned in and will tune in, will check Travis out because, man, his work. I'm going to be sharing some of the videos in the reentry support group so everybody can get tuned in and turned on to Travis for those who ain't, because it's most definitely they need your word, they need your advice, they need your guidance. I appreciate the work that you do, the things that you do, and man, I wish you nothing but the best in 2022. We in the new year. Any new goals, new plans. I hope that you accomplish them, which I know you will with your mindset, and continue to do it right and show the way for people that's coming out of prison, and people that's coming from situations like that we came from, and just don't think that it's possible to get to places that you have been and the places that you are at. So I appreciate you showing that it's possible, because you have been an influence to me personally to sit back and watch you like, okay, yeah, he came from where I come from, and this is where he at. So I know I still got some work to do, but I most definitely know it's possible because I can see it, and I appreciate that.
Amen. 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 Appreciate you, brother.
All right, thanks a lot for coming on, man. Once again, it was an honor to have you on. Wish you nothing but the best. You have a great night, and man, I get back with you. I'll be staying in touch with you on
All
Instagram.
right, brother.
All right, thank you.